Okay, video 3 of 3, and follow up on the last, how I ended the last video talking about Micron. I'm not trading it emotionally. I am emotional about it because I'm weirded out that how everybody knows something and it's nowhere written. So, but I don't trade with emotions. I haven't doubled down on it. I'm ready to, but I haven't doubled down on it. So anyway, Netflix. This is a company that, the opposite of Micron, you look at the P&L, it is now a mature company that grows well with decent margins. So I get it. And even then, I wouldn't go long at these levels. I mean, if I waited this long, why now? Right? Look left. Just ask this bunch what happened. And now, if they break out of here, then it's open season. You can do whatever you want. But if you waited this long, why now? Why this week? Why not next week? Just wait until next week and see whatever happens. Maybe it's a little bit higher. Maybe it's a little bit lower. Do you think it's going to be, what, 50% higher next week? Probably not. So if you're an investor, why not next week? If you're a trader, there's no imminent breakout. They could have broken out from here, but if that's the case, more often than not, they come back and check back on the neckline. So buy the dip into 656. Somebody reached out to me last week. They wanted to short it. I hope they managed it right. Okay. Northrop. I thought this was a war company. So this is a stock that is stable. Look at the P&L, quarterly P&L flat, bottom line flat. And the stock is trading like it's Tesla. One minute it rallies 20%, next minute it drops 20%. So this is a buy the dip with a stop, because the dip could go into 370, but it is a good company and it's losing support. So here's how I say it: it needs to be at 450 or above 440. Otherwise, it's at risk. It is at risk of going to 350. And I don't know much about their business. So if you know, you can invest accordingly. If I'm long, I'm not adding here. If I'm looking long to get long, if I'm an investor, I would add half of a position and add the second half closer to 320 if it goes there. If not, then I would add the rest over time. Time, not like a month, like 3-4 months. If I'm long for a trade, I would exit on rallies. ServiceNow, good bounce off of my target. So once they lost 680, these were the two targets, the white lines. This was mine. This was the official. This was an area of interest that got filled perfectly, like perfectly. How beautiful is that? So I will run my magic on it. I will change it to not have those. And so now, will it come down here? If the buyers are not able to take out that blue box, it could come back and retrace some of these. To be honest, this bounce is pretty strong. So maybe they come back down to 660 one more time. So if I'm long as an investor, I don't do anything. But if I went long as a trader, I would be out in these levels. P&L is great. I think there are a lot of sellers into 744. That's what I'm saying. And buyers into 680, better buyers into the 650 zone. NTNX. Okay, great dip into a solid base. I don't know about solid base, actually. I take that back. Levels-wise, it is a target zone. So my concern is on the rally. On the rally back, this area should be a lot of resistance. So I don't know if they're going to be able to come back to 66. I think it's an easier time to re-challenge the base. And if you lose the base, this is a better base here. And I would go long in this better base area. So that is my comment on this guy. NU holding. Ooh-wee. All right, so they're battling with a prior fail zone. And they're trying to break out into open air. They can do it. All they need is hold 9.5 or 10.5, come back and make a higher high. So if you're long for that on a momentum basis, good job. You want them to hold 1120. You don't want to lose actually 1125, 1120. Then you're, instead of fighting for a breakout, you're fighting to hold the momentum. and the breakout is above 1240. NVIDIA, what are you asking? What are we asking? You want to short it? Not with my money. It is shortable, but not with my money. If you think what I said about Microsoft made sense, it makes more sense here. In other words, if I wanted to short NVIDIA, I would short the S&P. And if you're going long NVIDIA here, you will probably make money over the period of 10, 20 years. Why this week? Negative will be up 40%. Okay, that's fine. This is an unusual situation. The chart is not going to... Oh, it's split. So all these old drawings don't make sense anymore. So NVIDIA is one-off. The company. The stock is a one-off. I wouldn't short it. It's too late to chase it without risk, significant risk. You don't see charts like this often in real life. And you're saying it stands. Let me ask you this. If the stock market drops 20% in a flash crash because the US goes to war, like flat out war against China, I'm just making stuff up. What do you think happens to the stock? I don't care how good it is. You don't think that this stock will be at $80 in the next 6 months? It could be at $80. So there are conceivable things that bring it down off the perch. We don't know everything right now. We have so many questions in the world. So I'm not fear-mongering. I'm putting in the logic that it seems invincible, but we're not thinking of in terms of stuff happens. So why now? Why this stock? As an investor, I would not engage long at these levels. And if I do, it would be just to say I'm in it. So if I planned on holding 50 shares, I would buy 3 or 4 or 5. And just to say, yeah, I own some NVIDIA. And then if it falls to 100 in the next 16,000 years, I'll quadruple my order. Then I would have been just long. Okay. Nothing wrong against the P&L. In fact, the P&L is too good and unproven. Like, it's not sustainable like this, or is it? If they go into robotics, then it's more than sustainable. That's why I wouldn't short it. Just know where you're getting into it. OKTA, I would buy dips in OKTA. P&L is a little bit weird, but it looks promising. You better hold 86, otherwise you're going down to 81. And if you lose 81 or 80, oh boy, you go down to 72 or 3. They are selling rallies, it seems. Hopefully not, but it seems. 92 or higher, sellers. There are sellers at 92 or higher. So this is an area of resistance right here. And if you lose this right here, you will end up here into a support zone and a better support zone lower. So I'm just giving you all that I see on the chart. Fundamentally, do your homework. Seems okay. I do buy dips in OKTA whenever it provides me an opportunity. On Semi, great company. We played it long and short before and made money, I believe. This ultimately needs to be covered. I'm pretty sure I'll find comparable areas up there. Like, okay, I'll give you an idea that if it gets to 74, 73.50, it's going to probably find some sellers up there, as it will into 79. So these boxes are unfinished candles in prior transactions. So if we come up into this area, the top half of this yellow box is an exit area. If I'm long, I would exit. If I come down here and we touch this yellow box, anything inside of it is a get long. This may have been a target. I don't see anything in between these two boxes. So now we're talking 70, better hold. If you lose it, you get to 67. And if you lose that, I mean, it's pretty close to this one, and then it could come down, and vice versa. A lot of sellers into 76, and I'm losing my voice. Oracle, get all in. All in. No. This is a dinosaur, meaning it's a good company that survived a bunch of stuff. Look at the spike from last time. It retraced. Look at the spike this time. Maybe it retraces. That's what stocks do. They don't just go to the moon. I mean, the P&L was good, but not that good. Anyway, did they do a split or something? I don't know what happened. Did they say we're partnering with someone? Sold calls in NVIDIA at 135, yeah. So this company, let's see, is breaking out from this level back then. So 125, anything below 127 should be a solid short-term support zone. So put it on your calendar or your alert. If it falls below 125, come take a peek. If you're a trader, if you're an investor, you start a position. Up here, it's a big rally, man. Palo Alto, I would be out of my longs. It's failed here several times, but here's the exciting part. If you're long for the breakout, you could get to 350, but the way I would do it is buy the dip. Hopefully they hold 305 to curl back up and break out. Or you let them break out and you buy the dip after the fact. You'll end up the same place as buying calls here. If I bought calls here and it goes down, I get stopped out. If I let them break out and buy calls on the way down, I would be as if I was long here, and I wouldn't be stopped out so easy. I would buy dips below 305. Something wrong with this stock. So we knew it had a dip coming in the zone. They overshot the zone, and now they're trying to hold that low. I personally, even though my arrows are saying go long, go long, go long, if I'm long, I'm not adding. That is super important. If I'm going long for an investment, I would take half and I would add the second half if it gets a haircut. So it is a long with an extremely tight stop for traders, or it is a long half position for investors. Palantir, I would buy the dip again. We did it every time, and I will buy it again. Up here, I don't want anything to do with it. Somebody mentioned that it has a huge spike, like up to 50 or something coming. It could be a buyout. I don't know. Somebody said, oh, AI can be good for it. What do you mean? It is an AI company from inception, like 10, 12 years ago. That was their inception. We are an AI company. And back then, the AI was just, yeah, we have Bob sitting over there in that cubicle. He's AI. Now everybody wants AI on everything. So they've been in the game a lot longer than most. And so if anything, somebody buys them out. And then somebody said, oh, they got a government contract. Again, that's what they were, a government contract company. So thanks, Bob. So that's what it is. Nothing has changed. Now the market has come to it, like Netflix. They were a streaming company. Now everybody's a streaming company. So they were one of the first pure AI company. This is one of them. And so what I'm saying is AI is not a headline for it. Neither is government contract. Just trade the fundamentals, which are up and away. Management is super solid. I don't think they'll sell out, which is probably a reason why I don't think you should hold calls. Go long, invest in the stock on dips, own the stocks with conviction. Don't sell covered call in it. It doesn't provide enough premium for that. PayPal. Something wrong with PayPal. They suck. I do business with them a lot, and their website just is tremendously bad. Every time you log in, it looks different. Takes you to a different landing page. It's pretty bizarre. Anyway, they're trying to do a lot. They remind me of Sears. Like, they do a bunch of stuff. Some of it is good, but it's just a bunch of stuff. And hopefully they survive. This scandal is death. And the fact that they let it go and let it go again, I think if I didn't exit at 70, I would exit on the next rally into 70 and get long into dips. And here's another caveat for it and Square. They trade with Bitcoin. If we have a correction in Bitcoin needs to decide now whether it needs to drop like 30 or 40%. If Bitcoin falls consistently for a period of time, these guys will not catch a bid. If anything, they will drop with it. Remember when they were falling? It was like, why are these two stocks falling like they're going out of business? AMC was behaving better than this company. That's because they were trading with Bitcoin. Took us a while to figure that one out. Qualcomm, all in, I guess. Good P&L, although this what happened last year? Questionable P&L drop in sales. So I can tell you with complete confidence, this stock chart does not match this P&L. So there is something you need to read about its fundamentals that is not in the P&L. Like, why is the stock acting like it's NVIDIA and it's nowhere near the NVIDIA's P&L? I use NVIDIA as a benchmark because it represents this boom, okay? It does represent this boom. So what the hell? Apple overblown AI. Oh, because of Snapdragon? Okay. So what happens? Yeah, anyway. Then it's a short. In fact, when does it report earnings? 38 days. Never mind. I'll add it to my watch list. Maybe I'll buy a debit put spread 40 earnings and I'll get out before the earnings. Maybe. It's shortable. RXRX. Huh. Cute name. Okay, that's another story that you need to watch. This is pretty bizarre P&L for such a bizarre, stock chart for such a bizarre P&L. I don't know what to say. Just buy the dip into 8.4 and sell the rip into 10.2. But do homework on the P&L from an investment. What I just gave you was trading comments. Rackspace. What? Yeah, not for me. P&L is okay. What are these dips and losses? Okay, so this is pretty scary. Do your homework on the company if you're an investor. Trading wise, I'm exiting into 3. Buy the dip if you're long. The letter S, Sentinel. If you bought the dip, that was great because my chart said to buy the dip. No, that's not why. Because it fell into prior support. So you buy the dip. And now just the same logic tells you to sell the rip into 22. 20 to 22 should be an exit area. And in fact, can be shorted if you have the stomach for it. Because if it is an exit area and it curls back down and it loses the base from which it bounced, now you will go to 6. That's not a forecast. Don't short it actively. But I would exit longs into 22 if I was a trader. If I was an investor and I got an entry at 14, sweet, good job, Nick. I would just sit on it. And if it does provide a lot of premiums, I would sell covered calls. StarBucks. Good support below into 76 and a lot of sellers into 85. I think I would lighten up into 85. Trading comments, investing comments. Okay, I could own the stock. But the stock market is pretty extended. Shopify, pretty weird. We bought the dip, right? And I would do it again. But going into 71, I think it'll find a lot of sellers. So this is an exit zone for me. See, target, that was a target on the way down. And that was a target that was met almost perfectly. I mean, we freaking nailed it. So now I can tell you that this is a resistance area. Schwab. Okay, did it do what I thought it would do? Did it hit my R and come back down? It did. So once you lost 47 in the stock, you opened the door for 41. This is a head and shoulder-ish pattern, and the machines look for it. So there we go, actually 40. So what I'm saying is that the fact that they could not take out the resistance area and that they actually made a lower low, albeit a tiny lower low, it is open to go into 40. Now sell the next rally until they prove to you that they can recover 46 or 47. They are at risk of drifting lower. SMCI. Here is a company whose P&L deserves to have a stock that looks like that other company earlier, Rackspace or whatever, that was going through the moon. Not Rackspace. Whatever, that other stock. Qualcomm. So look at the P&L, like parabolic, everything, not a blink. And lower highs, lower lows. What the hell? This is a huge level, 900 to 925. Look left. This is the highest point of volume in this period of time since January. So pretty big level. and fell point A to point B, consolidated, and the target is down here. The fact that they need to be at 925, otherwise they could revisit 750. If for whatever reason, you lose 750, you're probably going to 600. I know, sacrilege, but that is the case. Okay. By the way, I think we went long SMCI, so it's not like I'm bearish on a dip and made money. SMTC, Semtech. Okay, don't lose. It's 27.5. And I don't think you're going to be able to take out 36, 35 and a half. 35 or higher is going to be struggle. Look at whatever they lost here last quarter. Snow, cannot find support. I do have a trade long. It's losing money. I'm probably going to close it for a loss if it's a small position. The other way to handle this, if you're asking because of my trade, so I sold the 135 put and bought the 130 put, collected a certain dollars, and now it's like $200 loss per contract, thereabouts. So what I can do is I can say, you know what, go ahead, assign me the shares. I'll sell my protection whenever I deem it safe and stable, and that gives me $5 or $6 in profits in total. And if I get assigned at 135, because I can't make them assign me, I just have to sit until I get assigned, then my break even would be $6 below that. And if the stock is at 127, that means I lost $200 per share, which is the same as booking the loss now. So I'm inclined to just take the loss, but I have time on the clock. If they assign me while I'm waiting for a rebound, then I'll do what I just told you, and the assignment will be relieved, and I will take the $200 loss per contract. I don't know why it's falling. The P&L doesn't have anything in it. I think it got hacked, so that might be it. SOFI, I would not touch it here. I told you I would go long SOFI under 6, and I have every time it falls. And in fact, the two entries for us were under 5. So I'm waiting. If we do have a debt problem in the U.S., I think they're in the line of fire, because I think they give unsecured debt, right? Them and the other one, the Upstart. So, which nobody's asked me about Upstart for a long time. I'm curious, what the hell is Upstart? I mean, like weeks and weeks, if not months, nobody asked about Upstart. See, they act the same way. These guys, the amount of interest they collect from people should be criminal. I'm not saying they're criminal activity, but wow. I've seen people in their program for 2 years and make no headway. Like 50, 60% of their payment goes towards interest. That's just crazy talk. And it's unsecured debt. Wow. Okay. There's going to be a wave of bankruptcies. And if there are, that's what experts say, not me. And it's logical. And if there are, these are the guys that lose. They have to settle on their debts. Square, good bounce level, falling into a support zone. But the bounces, if they don't come up to 69 or higher, you're likely to drift a little bit lower towards 54. I do like the business. I will buy the dips, but I'm conscious of the fact that it's tied to crypto. So it doesn't always act logically, is what I'm saying. TDW, tidal wave. They're buying dips in a very nice trend. This is a dip that was bought, and now they're not making a higher high. So here's the statement. If it rallies back to 104, I would exit. If it doesn't come out of 112, it's probably going to 80. If it doesn't come out of 112 and make a high, it's probably going to 80. Buy the dip then. Team, looking to go long. I might actually, is it on my trade list? Yes. So decent P&L. Stock acting weird. These are old comments. Hard bounce November. Backup support. The internals look good. Why isn't it higher? So I'm going to tell you that I don't think it goes to 196, but I think it gets a bounce towards 176, and I would exit into 175. Tenable? No clue what they do. Security software. Okay. I don't like that they're losing the support here. So if they don't bounce, they might drift lower, so be careful. I can tell you there's going to be sellers into 43. Hard sellers. So, and I can tell you if they don't get back up to 42, They're probably at 38. It looks easier to come to 38 than 42. Tesla, look at it. It's tracing our lines perfectly. Area of interest, they almost filled it. Area of interest below. Don't be surprised to see extreme movements in Tesla. The emotions are back in that stock. I'm a fan, but not up here. I'm a fan, but not up here. I need a better dip to buy on the long side, okay? So now you have sellers into the red box, which is into 200, and buyers into 152. Let's see who wins out. TWLO, I just went long on Friday because of a discussion with a few people. I sold a put for the end of the year. I forget what level. 40? Anyone remember here in the live room? Remind me. 42? 40? I can't remember. But anyway, I sold a naked put saying, give me shares at that level and I'll break even in the low 40s. Yeah, Brensing. So if it doesn't come out of 59, it's probably going to drift towards 50. And if you lose 50, it's probably going to assign me something. But look at the hard bounces below and below and below. So TWLO spends a lot of money, but they spend money they make and they grow well. So it's a good long-term grower. The problem is fell point A to point B, consolidated, and is losing the consolidation. So there's a good chance it will be in the mid 40s. I would send out the trade, but selling a naked put means that you're obligated to buy the shares. I know that for every put I sold, they held back $400. So it's a 20 to 25% reward on my risk from that perspective. Although my risk is down to zero, just like buying stock. Unity, I wouldn't touch it, folks. I don't know what the hell's going on with the stock. It lost all metrics as far as bounces is concerned. Just avoid. Something's going on. A P&L is not bad and the stock cannot stop falling. Thank you, Andrew. Same to you, man. How's the little man doing? I know I told you I'd call you. I didn't. I left you alone. Maybe we'll chat this week. Uber, not a long for me up here. Buy the dip, although it looks like solid support, 68, 67, and maybe you take out 74. If you do, then you come up to 78. I would exit there. Those are trading comments. Investment, just own the stock for the super long term. Pick entry levels that make sense. Like 63 was a good place to enter. Next time it falls down there, you might want to pick up a few shares for the future. VRSN. Okay, 186 was a problem. 182 is a problem. That area is a problem. So rallies into that are going to be hard to take out. The opposite is true. 170 looks like solid support. Look at this P&L. I mean, the profit margins are freaking insane. How is this possible? What the hell did they do? And why is the P&L like this when this is bulletproof? This is like a cash machine. It's an ATM machine. Let me show you. Look at these margins. What the hell? COGS, so they don't sell stuff. They sell ideas. They like have 3 people working for the company. Wow. What the heck? A lot of debt, though. Why do you have all this cash and a lot of debt? Do you pay everything? What is this, an annuity? What the hell is this? Okay, I need to know what's going on with this company. Anyway, super solid support below, super weird resistance above. I just don't get it. What's going on here? I'm going to put an alert next time it falls into here. I'm long, whatever. Hopefully it has options. Wow. Victoria's Secret. You better hold 16. If not, you're probably going to 13. A lot of support between now and then. So go long if you're a trader and exit into 2021. If you're an investor, go long partial. Leave room to add. You have a resistance zone into 20, 20 and a half, 21. Verizon, good stock to own on crashes, not up here. If it falls down to 36, that's target 1. Believe it or not, 32 or lower is target 2 of what? This red W you see on my screen. It's actually not a W, it's an ABC. So how about, I would be interested if it dips into 36 or lower. Higher than here, I think tremendous resistance. XLI, I'm still short, less short than before. I shared it with you. I don't think I'm losing money on it. The fact that they made a lower low and they bounced off of it this week, if they lose that lower low that they made last week, I think we get our second arrow. We almost got our first. We will finish our first and maybe our second. I wouldn't hold for the third. I am I am short calls and long puts. I don't know if I closed the long puts or not, but if you have any questions about that trade, let me know. ZI. So I said to start longs via shares, and it took a spike. There's a group of people on Benzingas. I told them to buy calls just because I'm not allowed to say buy shares. But I would have in my write-up, I did say I would buy shares. Above 13, you get to 14, and you have solid support below. If you're an investor and you bought some starter positions, just don't do anything. If you're looking to invest in it, it's a decent little investment, obscure little company, but it might end up being a good investment over the long term. Trading-wise, you have some sellers at 13 and buyers at 11.80. A breach of either of those lines would carry in that direction. Zscaler, the person that submitted that ticker along with the other one, there's no need to put a $sign. In fact, you screw me up when you do. So above 193, you can probably get to 210. Meanwhile, you can buy the dip into recent support. You have a level at 170 or lower, and of course 155. If you lose 155 for whatever reason, when I say that, it means I don't see it happening, but if it does happen, you're probably going to 124. Yes, this stock does move a lot in both directions. Okay, all right. 200, I would be out from a trading perspective. And with that, folks, that's the end of the session. All right. Let me see if there were any questions. I guess I should have looked at that before. I want to sell calls in ARM. Oh, that's why. Brian, selling calls in ARM, I wouldn't. Unless they're covered calls, then I most definitely would. Brad, your question about Microsoft, you want to say it again? How to use VWAP. Come into the live room, Riley. I'm looking to get long, looking for entry points. Okay, I hear you. I answer your question, Grady. You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, Sunday. I do have another webinar, actually, so I need to go take a break. Brad, are you here? Did I answer your question? Okay. All right, folks.